Hey guys, what's up? Jayson Gaddis here. Quick video on infatuation. All right. This is something that is such an incredible experience, to be infatuated with another person, and yet it leads to a lot of pain. So I want to cover why this is so important for you, especially you folks that are falling in love, right? Or idealizing someone in your life. Okay, let's take a look at it. So infatuation basically is the first stage of a long-term relationship. You fall for someone and you become mesmerized by who they are. And you lose your ground. You're high. Okay, it's a high state. It's literally a lot of dopamine and oxytocin cranking through your brain, your body. Okay, so pleasure. There's a lot of pleasure in infatuation, and it feels really good. And that's usually when we fall for someone and it lasts anywhere from 6 months to a year, sometimes longer. But for most of us, it's 6 months to a year at the max. And then what ends up happening is people because you're high and you're literally kind of like on drugs, the same parts of the brain light up as when you're on drugs, you can't see clearly. You aren't rational. You're not making great decisions. This is why people have children, move in together, elope, get married, start having babies. They do crazy stuff because you can't see clearly, right? Because it all looks good. You're blind to the other side and to the side of them that's going to come out eventually. Their dark side, if you will. So the other side of the same spectrum here of pleasure is pain. Okay, or you could say low and high, because I was just talking about being high, right? This is low, high. So the other side of this same coin of pleasure is pain. This is why when the honeymoon phase or the infatuation phase wears off, what happens? People feel devastated, and they go to pain. And they're finally just destroyed. So if you find yourself destroyed by a breakup and just ruined, like your life is over, that's because you were high, you were infatuated. That is not love, folks. That's not love. And love is the balance, as my mentor taught me, and synthesis of pleasure and pain. So love would be somewhere right here in the middle. Okay, we draw a little heart in there. Love is the notion that relationships are full of pain and pleasure and pain. And it's not a big deal. So you've lost your ground when you're infatuated. You're high, you're literally lighter, right? And that's why when someone breaks up with you or you get dumped or something, you fall down on your face. You were also probably you lost yourself in them. You lost yourself in other. You lost your ground, you lost your footing. So they leave, you fall flat on your face. So that's what infatuation gets you if you don't understand this. If you understand it, then you can enjoy infatuation knowing, looking at your watch, knowing that it's going to last only so long before the pain comes to balance it out. Because you want a balanced relationship. You want a loving relationship, which has some pleasure in it and it has some pain in it. A loving long-term relationship is willing to withstand pleasure and pain because we can do this. We're a team, right? It's just like the stock market. A good investor invests long-term knowing that the market is going to go up and down, and they don't get emotional about it. Now, it's hard to not get emotional in your relationships, but what we can do as individuals is get better at regulating our own emotions, learning how to handle our own emotions. So if you grew up in a family where there was lots of highs and lows and you never really learned to regulate yourself, you're dysregulated a lot, you're way more susceptible to this pleasure-pain cycle. And in your adult life, your relationships are going to look like this, right? And it's going to feel like kind of a nightmare. at times, because it's like, oh, I'm really high, it's great. Oh, shit, I feel like terrible. I can't stand it. I can't believe this happened to me. It's going to be up and down. The mature person who learns how, through relationship, to balance their emotions on a regular basis and stay centered in the midst of pleasure and pain, and can ride those waves and relax into them, that is going to turn into a successful long-term relationship. And that's love, folks. Love is this balance and this dance and the ability to stay centered in the midst of your relational highs and lows. All right? Okay, so hopefully this was helpful on infatuation, and we'll see you next time.